Hi there, today I'm sharing more points when it comes to recording with an iPhone versus a camera. This is the third installment of this series, so if you missed the other two videos, be sure to check it out. I'll be sharing links right above my head if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching this on Facebook, you'll see the links in the video description, so be sure to check it out. And before we get started, have you subscribed to my YouTube channel yet? If you haven't, how else are you gonna get all my weekly video tips? You should subscribe. Go ahead, I'll wait. You got it? All right, cool, let's go. Just like the previous two videos, I'm recording this on my iPhone 8 Plus in 24 frames per second, 4K resolution. I'm also recording with the Canon T6i, 25 frames per second in 1080p resolution. In this video, I'm gonna cover the settings options that you have for both the iPhone and a proper camera. Specifically, what kind of flexibility you have in controlling those variables that will give you the best exposure and video quality. With the DSLR, the sky's the limit with the changes that you can do for your video. You can control the aperture, the shutter speed, and the ISO. Although I will say when it comes to the shutter speed, a rule of thumb that you wanna follow is to always have that number be double what your frame rate is. So right now I'm recording in 25 frames per second. So that means my shutter speed is 1/50th of a second. Following this rule of thumb will make sure that you have the proper motion blur when it comes to your videos. Now with your shutter speed set, you can also control the aperture and the ISO. With the aperture, it's how wide the lens can go and the amount of light that's allowed to access the camera sensor. So just remember that the smaller the aperture, the wider the opening is and more light is coming through to the sensor. The larger the aperture number, the smaller the opening is and less light is accessing the camera sensor. Now when it comes to the ISO, that determines the light sensitivity of the camera sensor itself. So the smaller the number, the less sensitive to light it is. The larger the number, the more sensitive to light it is. So say you're filming outside on a bright sunny day. You can get away with an ISO of 100 because you don't want the camera sensor to be that sensitive on a bright sunny day. If not, everything's gonna look really white and bright and basically just like a white sheet. If you're filming inside and you have access to good lighting, you could probably get away with something between 400 to 800 ISO. Or let's say, for example, it's not as bright as you would like, you can probably have a setting of 1600. Now you can go beyond that if you're shooting in a darker room, but just know the higher the ISO, once you get past 1600, your videos can look grainy at that point. I, as a rule of thumb, don't go past 1600 on my ISO when I'm shooting photos or video because I want to avoid my videos looking grainy. If I find that I'm boosting the ISO beyond 1600, that usually just means I need more lighting wherever I am. Now, obviously with the DSLR camera and other cameras beyond a smartphone, you can also use the automatic setting, which is a pretty good option if you're just getting started in using an actual camera for your videos. Now, the settings on an iPhone and most smartphones are all automatic. You can't choose your aperture, frame rate, or ISO specifically, but there are some apps that you can use that give you better control over the video option itself. One of those is Filmic Pro, which is actually the app that Steven Soderbergh used when he recorded the entire film on Sane. He used 3 iPhone 7 Pluses and the Filmic Pro app to record that entire feature-length film, which is pretty cool. And let me know if you saw that movie because I personally didn't. I found it to be a little too creepy, but I probably should see it since I'm talking about it now. But if you did see it, let me know in the comments below what you think. Is it too scary? I don't know. Like scary movies, they have to be like really, really good for me to watch and I don't watch horror. It has to be like thriller. Thrillers I'll watch, I will not watch horror. This looks more like a thriller, so maybe I'll make the exception. All right, so back to the Filmic Pro. You can't control the aperture, ISO, and shutter speed, but it has some really cool options. Like right now, I'm filming with my wide angle lens, but I can actually switch to the telephoto lens. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is the telephoto option in the Filmic Pro app. You see that it's a much tighter shot. I think you pretty much only see my face. And the background is much narrower. You don't see as much as you did with the wide angle lens. It's a pretty cool option. If you want more information on the differences between telephoto lenses and wide angle lenses, I did cover that in my second video, so be sure to check that out. Now the Filmic Pro also has a stabilization option on the app, which means if you're going handheld, it'll stabilize the image a bit more so it doesn't look as shaky. Now, you know, I'm going to encourage you to use an actual tripod or some kind of stabilization device for your phone so you're not going handheld. But in the last minute, if you need to record handheld, this is a pretty cool option. Now, the Filmic Pro is available for Apple and Android devices, so be happy. If you like this video, hit the like button and be sure to share it with someone who can find it helpful. Also, let me know how you're doing in your video making process. Are these videos helping you at all? Let me know where you're at. Have you considered starting videos but you haven't gotten going yet? Maybe you started. Let me know how it's going for you. Or maybe you just like looking at my pretty face every week as I talk about video and you have no intention of creating video. That's kind of weird, but let me know in the comments below where you're at in your video making journey. And if you need more information on the kind of equipment you can use to make your own videos, be sure to download my free guide. It's a list of audio and video equipment that I recommend you use to help you get started in making your own videos. Just follow the link and you'll get your free download. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in front of the camera.